60 seconds today. We're doing a little
2.0, moving away from the basics of motivation.
The thing I wanted to focus on most of all is the cholesterol thing, because as a personal trainer with lots of clients coming into their mid-30s, early 40s, late 40s, one of the things they're most concerned on is cholesterol. It's almost like if your cholesterol's okay, you're okay. And that one figure can literally make or break whether they think they're going to have a heart attack. So if someone has got high cholesterol, how worried should they be?
Oh, my goodness. Right, where do we start to unpick this one? I think this will go down in history as the biggest crime that has been committed by the medical profession and particularly the drug industry against humankind. And I don't say that lightly, and I'm not alone in thinking that. It is absolutely scandalous when you really look into this thoroughly. And for people who at the moment are believing that there is such a thing as good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and hopefully even in the next few minutes we'll get rid of that nonsense, I hope people then start feeling as I did when I first discovered this, which is first of all incredulous and then very, very angry that you've been duped and you're part of this massive, lucrative machine. And I hope that people then really start reading people like Dr. Malcolm Kendrick, Ufi Ravenscoft, Dwayne Graveline, John Briffa. There are loads of people out there writing on this and really understand it in more detail.
I read some interesting research you did on 100 in America on people who've actually had a heart attack.
Yes.
And the cholesterol levels within those people who have actually just had a heart attack, and that was quite interesting.
We'll put that picture up as well, because it actually showed, this was a brilliant study. It was called the CHEST study in America, and what they did was, what a great idea, they actually took men who were arriving at casualty in America, having a heart attack, and they managed to get the cholesterol readings for 136,000 of them. And the majority, I think it was about 60%, had below average LDL levels. So you were more likely to be arriving at hospital if your LDL levels were low than if they were high.
So what that's essentially saying is if you've got low LDL, that is dangerous.
Exactly. You do not want to be having low LDL. And we'll put some other charts up alongside this interview where I looked at the actual data from the World Health Organization for all 192 countries in the world for which there is data, and that's just about all of them. And I plotted the average cholesterol level for each country and the deaths in that country. So I did it for male deaths of any cause, male deaths, heart disease, female deaths, any cause, female deaths, heart disease. In every one of those 4 diagrams, listen to this carefully, the higher the cholesterol, the lower the death rate. The higher the cholesterol, the lower the death rate. The lower the cholesterol, the higher the death rate. It is the exact opposite of what we're being told. Now, anyone who goes to their doctor and their doctor says your cholesterol is high, now at the moment they're telling anyone who's got a cholesterol level above 5 it's high. And they actually want to keep lowering and lowering and lowering that number. So when your doctor turns around and says 5 is high, ask them why. Where do you get that number from? Because there is no evidence base for that number whatsoever. Now, it hasn't exactly been picked out of the air. When I tell you who is behind it, you should start getting angry. Because the National Cholesterol Education Program is the body that sets the targets in the US, and all members of the 2004 guideline panel had received payments and or grant funds from, wait for it, Abbott, AstraZeneca, Bayer, BMS, Sanofi, Bristol Myers Squibb, Esperion, Fournier, GlaxoSmithKline, Koss, Lipid Sciences, Merck, Novartis, Pfizer, that's the single biggest statin drug in the world with Lipitor, Procter & Gamble, Reliance, Sanko, Takeda, Tularik, and YF. That was the body that set the American guidelines. Now, I was one of the first, in fact, I think I was the first, to uncover in the UK this year when the February NICE guidelines, National Institute of Care and Clinical Excellence, when their guidelines came out in February, I was the first to spot 8 out of 12 of the panel members had connections with the drug industry. This is not an independent body. This is not doctors advising us for our health. This is drug companies having infiltrated the cholesterol setting targets. Just before we move off cholesterol, just one other thing that it's very important for people to be aware of is just how utterly life vital cholesterol is, because it has been so demonised by the media, by the drug companies for financial gain. If you stop 100 people in the street in Cardiff, 99, probably 100 actually, will tell you that cholesterol clogs up your arteries, it's bad for you, it's trying to kill you, it'll give you a heart attack. They'll tell you something bad about cholesterol. If you ask those same people and say, could you live without cholesterol, I bet they probably wouldn't know the answer. And the fact is that you would die instantly without cholesterol. Cholesterol is absolutely an integral part of every single cell in the human body, which is why, with all this debate going on about side effects at the moment, if you have low cholesterol, particularly if you lower your cholesterol with medication intervention, you are very likely to get cognitive impairment, memory loss, mood changes, muscle aches, because all your body cells from your brain to your fingers are being impaired by having your cholesterol lowered. You don't make vitamin D without cholesterol. You don't have orgasms without cholesterol. You know, let's bring it down to things that your clients might appreciate. It is a major part of all of our hormone structure, including our sex hormones. You just do not get testosterone and estrogen and all the other good things that make us male and female and attracted to other people without cholesterol. It is that vital. It's so vital that your body makes it. Your body's making it right now. So
and just exactly, and I think that's a vital point to actually bring up, because a lot of this, and also the whole thing about eggs, which I get all the time.
We've known that since
should I eat egg yolks? Should I eat egg yolks?
Absolutely.
Now, there's two bits of information here. Firstly, is it possible to raise blood cholesterol by eating dietary cholesterol?
No. Absolutely impossible. And the guy who looked into this, Ansel Keys, who's often criticised actually for being the father of the whole diet heart hypothesis, which people like me, Gary Toads, Hannah Sutter, John Breffer, Nina Teacholz, all the rest of us, we're all attacking the diet heart hypothesis, and Ansel Keys gets particularly singled out. But to be fair to him, he did a series of studies in the 1950s on humans, and he tried to feed humans cholesterol to raise their blood cholesterol levels, and he concluded cholesterol in food makes no difference to cholesterol in the blood. And he never deviated from that view. So any dietitian today who's saying, oh, you shouldn't eat prawns and you shouldn't eat egg yolks, they're stupid. They don't know what we knew 60 years ago. So
and Ansel Keys was a man who had his entire career dependent on trying to find that link, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
The very much in his interest to find that link.
Absolutely. And just to finish this one off, because I think this is really, really, really interesting and important point. Where he then went wrong, the only foods that contain cholesterol are animal foods. So things that vegans don't eat are the only things that contain cholesterol. So that's meat, fish, eggs and dairy. So in his human subjects, to feed them cholesterol, he had to feed them animal foods. And in feeding them animal foods, he found that it had no impact on blood cholesterol levels whatsoever. So not only did he exonerate cholesterol, particularly, he exonerated animal foods. So all these people also saying, oh, you mustn't eat meat, not because of its cholesterol content, but because of its fat content. It doesn't matter what is in meat. We have already tested meat and fish and eggs and dairy and found they have no impact on cholesterol levels whatsoever. Not that cholesterol levels are bad, but food, certainly fat and protein, have nothing to do with cholesterol levels whatsoever. Your body is making cholesterol because it's trying to keep you alive and it's trying to keep you healthy, and just leave it alone and let it do what it's designed to do.
Exactly. You can see how it just turns into a big goose chase, just running after the wrong thing. So if you're looking at, let's focus on optimum health, on living.
What should we do? Yeah.
You've written 6 books. Which one would you say is a good one to start with?
Yeah, I mean, that's the data one, but I put a huge amount out just on my blog. So I just say to people who started, just go on zoeharcombe.com, and I've got stuff on cholesterol, red meat, diabetes, low-carb diet advice, the calorie theory. There's all sorts on there. So you don't actually have to, to go out and buy anything. The obesity book, if you like references and academic kind of approaches to things, that's the one. If there are women particularly who are trying to work out, why do I find muffins talking to me and I don't want to eat them, but I find myself eating them, then it's why do you overeat when all you want is to be slim?
Yeah.
It answers that question.
And there are going to be lots of questions. That's what I love about this, but the best thing is all the answers in there. And if you've got more questions, you just keep them coming via the blog and stuff like that. So, Zoe, that has been fantastic, and it's great to have discovered someone with such a depth of knowledge as well, and that comes across in all the books you do. So, like I said, if people have got more questions, they can go to your blog or buy any of your books. So thank you very much for your time today, Zoe.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks ever so much for the approach and for this opportunity. And it's great to see other people doing the same things and trying to get people eating well and living well, and we can't have enough people doing that. So thanks ever so much for what you do as well.
Thank you, Zoe. Cool. Take care.